Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 19th of January, the year 2020, they tell us. And to answer those questions, yes, Brandon, the big Sib, is going to join me. As a matter of fact, he's sitting right there right now. Brandon, what's up, brother?
Hey, Richie. How you doing, brother? Glad to be back. You invited me on, so I'm here. When I have time, like I do tonight, I'll definitely, if you invite, I'll come on.
No worries, man. I just saw, I haven't finished it yet because I think you just posted it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Your newest video, it's a hour, 7 minutes long. The Valley of the Shadow of Death. I thought that was a very apropos name because we were just talking about that the other day. And then it seems that it applies to your latest teaching. So nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what happens is I don't ever, so even during that live stream, to me, well, not to me, but in reality, there was a lot of synchronicities that happened because everybody was bringing up subjects that I already had written on my board. And what that told me is that I was on the right path, that I was focusing on the correct thought process. And that happens a lot. And I catch it a lot. So when you brought up the Valley of the Shadow of Death, what I had forgotten that I've still got Psalm 23 written on the board. That's
a bit of a stretch. Not you, Brandon. I'm talking about the commenter.
No, I'm just a man, folks. Just a man. But I had Psalm 23 written on the board weeks ago to show how it's part of our trust agreement too. And I just never did it. And then you brought it up. I said, hey, man, it's a perfect time to bring it in and discuss it.
Yeah, no doubt. Just real quick, what's the gist of this particular teaching? Because I only got into it about 7 minutes, and then you popped in, so we started going back and forth.
Well, what I tried to do this week, I recognized the complexity of what the trust means, what that actually means, what the covenant, the contract means. So at the beginning, I tried to explain in a simplified way how you get to this, because last week I broke apart the beast system, jurisdiction, and the kingdom of the Father, right? I broke those down. I separated the two and went on through. But this week I focused on the trust, simplified the concept so people can see it more clearly. And then I spoke about why we can't get any justice inside these Nisi Prius courts. And that's because these Nisi Prius courts are lower courts. They can only speak to dead things. They can't deal with living men and women. That's why they always want you in person. But then after I wrapped that up, I felt like I wrapped that up good enough. I went straight to the scriptures, and I spent probably 45 minutes on the scriptures. Hey, born again veteran, that dude does a pretty good job on his videos, man.
Where's he at? Did I miss him?
The born again veteran. You want to talk about some good videos that'll open up the eyes of new people. That born again veteran does a really good job. He look, everybody has their part in the process, and he does a great job with that. But anyway, to get back on point, so I end up wrapping up our thoughts that last week when we did the live stream. I did the parable of the sower, the wheat and the tares, and just more trying to relate to people this concept of the two kingdoms, right? And so we got it done. Yeah, that guy right there, give him a shout out. He does pretty good.
I'm putting his link in the chat right now, and I'll post it in the comments for you.
Yeah, he's got a video series that is aimed at like people just now waking up, and he does a real good job. His videos are really well put together, and I should get better at giving people shout outs, but the way
but let me just trust me. Just make sure when you give them a shout out that you're positive, because dude, more times than not, channels that I've given props to or dudes I've had on, it's always ended up blowing up in my face one way or the other. But you know, just be warned. Don't stop giving the love, but be warned. It's weird. No good deed goes unpunished. Remember that.
Well, right. But I watched his video series. I can't remember what it was. It was about 6 or 7 videos. It's aimed at his deal was he's trying to wake his family up. And so that definitely, I think he did a very good job there. I don't have time to go watch all 100 videos. It's just not what I have.
Not possible.
No, no.
Oh my, that's a weird comment.
We were just talking about him.
Oh yeah. At any rate, that's when you say that. At any rate. Anytime I step on my own private parts, that's when I go, at any rate. That's me. It's me backing out. You know what I mean?
Oh, I digress.
I digress. That's it. That's it.
You got to put a filter on it sometime, Brandon.
Well, no. It's no worries. It's no worries. Unlike a lot of channels, you watch them talk and you're like, wow, this is a great video. You watch his eyes and he's like, he's reading a script. Yeah. I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to do that. It doesn't work for me. I did a voiceover for the YouTuber Zendrius, huge channel.
Oh, I love
He's been around forever. He doesn't speak English great, so that's why he always does. He had me do a voiceover, and I swear it took me forever because he's a perfectionist, and I'm reading it, and I'm not talking like I'm talking now. I'm reading it, but you can tell that I'm reading because I'm trying to hit exactly what he wants me to hit, and it just sucked. So whatever. Zendrius is a good dude, man. So there's that.
I love it. Hey, man, he had some of the best breakdowns.
He got a lot of flack, dude. He does some serious breakdowns, showing what magic was and so forth and so on. So
yeah, those were good too. I remember those now. That's right.
It's true, and it's true. It's true. These magicians are the same as they've always been ever since Moses' staff went down. You know what I mean?
Nothing's changed.
No.
Just our perception.
Well, that's the deal, though. Nothing's changed, and a lot of people, the people in the chat, your subscribers, a lot of people that are in the circles that we're in are realizing that. But the regular people, they don't see that this is new technology. Nope. This is all rehashed. We're just coming back around again. Yeah. Do I think I was here on Earth before? Not at all. But were there people before us? Without a doubt. There's evidence everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and what was it? Arthur C. Clarke that said any advanced form of technology is indistinguishable from magic.
My father has that on his desk.
Yeah,
on his desk. Any high technology is indistinguishable from magic. Something to that effect. But yeah, you're right. Crazy.
Hey guys, I don't have the chat open, but hello, Mike Decker. Hello, everybody. If I see you scroll across the screen, thank you for anybody who supports the channel. Thank you, guys.
All right, check this out. All right, I was just talking about this, and apparently, as I was talking about it, it was happening. So let me see if I can do this in any kind of order, and let's see what you think about this. Where do we go? Right here. Boom. And the numerology is right in your face. I'll stand by. This was just the other day. One of my subscribers sent me this link, and it's Woodbury. Where is this Woodbury? I forget where it was already. I forget where this is. And it doesn't show a state. Twin Cities. It must be Minnesota or Michigan. Anybody?
Let's see.
Twin Cities. Where's Twin Cities?
That's Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right. So I was talking about the pollution. The nuclear power plants are built on all the freshwater streams and such in the United States. And just like the EPA, just like the FCC, just like everything, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is just filled with people that are actually, work for the nuclear power plants. So every time they contaminate the water or, soil, well water, they just bump up the numbers that are acceptable for humans to ingest. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they have to. And well, this is another cover, though, Richie. I'm going to tell you what this is a cover for. Right off the top of my head, this is a cover for raising the threshold for all radiation. Because what that's going to do is say, well, now that we're raising the threshold, 5G and all these other forms of radiation, the levels have to go up too. So this is very troublesome right here, because what we're eventually going to get to the point is just cooking ourselves within our body.
Well, the thing is once I looked, I forget the subscriber, so I apologize, but somebody sent me this, and I had already been talking about this anyways a week or so ago, I started finding them all over the place, and even over to Israel and Palestine, where they're stealing water. What's the main concern in Australia right now?
Water.
Trying to put the fires out. These guys got caught saying that, oh, a couple of years ago we used weather manipulation to put the fires out. Well, then where's that technology now? Because the technology is newer, bigger, and it's out. It's no longer a secret. And on the other hand, they're stealing the groundwater from the people through fracking and just diverting it and selling it. This is insane. This sounds like Nestle actually did what they wanted to do, because you remember when Nestle made that big brouhaha about water isn't a human right. We should be able to own it like any other commodity. That's insanity, man, because we're made of water. You know, like this is just absolutely insane how far they're going to go with this. But
well, yeah, until we finally say, you know, that's enough. And really, to them, remember the legal terms these bastards use. And I use that word strongly because that's what they are. They're fatherless. These are bastards. They don't have the love of the father in them. And when he's that legalese bastard from Nestle saying that, remember, humans are monsters, and they're always lowering us down on the evolution, on the chain, to lower us as goyim, dogs, and monsters and everything else. There's no law in the world that says you can cut water from humans. And yeah, it's really just let's do this, Richie. We have to have water to live. Well, that's an inherent right by the Creator, right? This is the water world. Everything works off the water and everything else. So what they're really doing is saying they have the right to stop life. And remember, this is the valley of the shadow of the death. These people, these are death eaters. This is all they like. They love chaos and destruction. And here's again, when this concept gets through to people, and it's not that I'm talking about any policeman, I'm not talking about bad about any military man.
That goes without saying. Yeah. I'd like to think that any law enforcement, any Leos, any veterans, any active military, all of us got sucked into the machine at one point or not. And I understand that if you're under the badge right now, if you are wearing the flag right now, you can't get out right now because they lock you in. I get it. We're not talking about you, but most people do. They have woken up, brother.
Yeah. And what we have to get to this point to where anything against morality, against justice, we don't do it. And I mean, just flat out, we have to get to that point to where my job and somebody having authority over me doesn't relieve me of my personal and moral responsibility to do good. Period. There is nobody that can force you to do wrong. And we have to get to this point, and it is us on the ground levels who institute these unjust and unmoral laws and say, well, some politician over in Washington, D.C. or Australia or whatever deem this a crime. Folks, the only thing that's a crime, the only real crime in this world is called it has to be an injured party. Nothing else is a crime. Without an injured party, there is no crime committed. What is happening is the opposite. These laws, these codes and statutes being instituted are committing crimes against men and women.
Without a doubt. This is absolutely insane. Let me ask you. I already know the answer, and I'm not trying to sound like a defeatist or anything like that. What would it take with what you're explaining on your channel about the laws and how the law of the land, the law of every land was always no harm, no foul. If nobody is hurt, there is no crime. Well, that's all out the window, man. Mm-hmm. It's all, if you're driving down the street in your motor vehicle that you've paid the gasoline tax, you paid for the gasoline, you paid the excise tax, you got the inspection sticker, you've got it registered, you've got it insured, blah, 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 blah. I mean, just the amount of money to be free and drive down the street. But if you're driving down the street, a law enforcement officer can pull up behind you and you have a tail light out. Okay, well, so while I was driving, one of my lights went out. That happens, you know, things fail. They can hand you a ticket and make you pay money.
Mm-hmm.
That's dude. Who is that harming?
Well, and so what happened right there is called extortion. And quite simply, until men and women understand and recognize what they are doing, and I know the point that you were trying to make right there.
I did lose it a little, so clean it up.
No, I got you, brother. What men and women must do is quit relying on man's authority telling them it's okay to do other men. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And there's not a cop out there. There's not a sheriff officer out there who's not rolling through his town and gets a ticket that doesn't get that ticket bumped off. That don't give me that bull crap. It's a good old boys network.
I know that for a dude. My grandfather was a cop. One of my exes was a detective. That's a fact. That's a total, complete 100% fact.
Yes. So it's quite simple. We either start treating one another like men and women and respecting one another, and start loving one another instead of always relying on, well, it's my job. Well, for me, folks, just for me, I can speak only for myself. If my boss ever walks into my office and tells me, Brandon, you got to lie, you got to cheat, you got to steal, or you're fired. Well, guess what, folks? Brandon doesn't have a job anymore. Because I will cheat no man, I will steal from no man, and I will not lie to no man if I know better. It's just we have to get back to the basics. We have to get back to treating everyone as our brother and as our neighbor, and quit relying on outside authority that comes from the beast system.
The sad thing is just like you said, I did catch that piece in your video where you're showing the little kid with Bruce Willis, the kid that could, I see dead people. I see dead. I just used that in a video recently, not too long ago, actually. I see dead people. That's funny. That's on the other channel.
Yeah.
But he's not wrong. They are everywhere. They walk around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see and hear what they want to see and hear. They are programmed and indoctrinated. They don't know they are dead. They don't know they are organic, soulless portals. Dude, we're outnumbered 9-1 by these people. And I don't see them waking up, man, because when the event comes that should wake them up, they're going to give them a narrative ahead of time, which is going to make them think the enemy is, I'm going to guess, us. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, that's
probably so, because look, and Richie, you know this, you go talk to somebody that is lost in illusionary land, and you bring up that cognitive dissonance, the eyes go black, and you have now become their number one enemy in the world because you just broke to them something. It doesn't matter what it is, flat earth, I don't care what it is. You just tried to break through their paradigm, and you have triggered the defense mechanisms. And now Agent Smith, it's like in the Matrix movie when everybody turns and looks at Neo because Agent Smith has been alarmed, right? That's exactly what we're dealing with. But here again, in this reality, we are to rise above, keep rising above as best as we can. And that doesn't mean anybody's going to be perfect. I fail all the time, but every day is another challenge for me to be better. And I have to do that.
I don't know who this person is. I've never seen him in the chat before, but apparently I'm attacking YouTubers because I actually put somebody out there that I actually know, but I'm sure Mystery Exchange knows them as well. But at any rate,
well, who are they talking about?
I would imagine they're talking about Max Egan.
Well, let's talk. Let's
as well.
Yeah, let's do this, folks. Whatever happened to Max? And in my study today, I spoke about Max, but what I did was when I saw the mental breakdown by Max Egan and how he dealt with it, you know what I did? I went and prayed for Max Egan. And there's a reason why I have to pray for Max Egan. Max Egan's still smoking dope. Max Egan's still looking for predators. Max Egan is still looking for answers all around the world and everything else in this world, but because him, just like a few other great guys, cannot see the truth for what it is. They're still waiting on the beast system to be the part that helps them, and they do not have the full armor of the Most High, and as such, he was either hit by. I saw something today where he said he was hit by targeting or whatever. Well, that may be true, but here's the thing: Max Egan is old enough and wise enough to know to not get on YouTube blathering like a madman. He looked like a lunatic, and now he's paying the price for that. If Brandon gets hit tomorrow and I get on here and I start talking all kind of crazy stuff, that is exactly what is going to happen. So he fed into the narrative no matter what happened. And I do want to say this. I'm going to continue praying for Max and hope that he pulls through this on some way, shape, or form. But what happened there was a losing of his conscious mind, and that's a sad sight to see.
And here's the deal. You'd be proud of me because you just had to stick another Bible verse in my head. I've only got two. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. That bothers me. And there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. And then the other one that said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And I kept thinking about that. And I'm thinking. So I prayed for Max. That's not going to stop me from putting out the video like I did today, because Max, somehow, all of us are blocked. We can't get past 25,000, 30,000 views. Max seems to have no issue whatsoever putting a video out every day, making it to 70, 80, 90,000. Because the narrative that he's pushing is the wrong one, and people are gobbling it up. If he came out the following day when he was no longer under this mental breakdown or whatever it is, and straight up said, hey, I had a breakdown. Hey, whatever that square light that wasn't from God, because God doesn't use square lights, which I don't even know what that means. If he came out and said, I don't know what any of that is, I apologize. It's not what he did. He actually continued with the entire narrative and then just continued to muddy the water even more.
No, I agree with that.
There are a lot of us, you included. Everybody that makes videos that shows their face is putting themselves out there. Some people on YouTube, they either love us or hate us, but people that know us in real life and know what we do on YouTube, they don't think much of us. They're like, yeah, he makes videos about, you know what I mean? So we're putting ourselves out.
Talking about the eccentric guy? He's kind of crazy.
Right. That guy thinks the earth is flat just because he lives 60 miles down at sea level. How are you at sea level for 60 miles?
Hey, look, man, all my neighbors, none of my neighbors will discuss with me anything political ever again. I can promise you.
Not if you broke them off like you do online.
I broke my neighbor off, Fred. I said, man, Fred, you vote for another man to rule you? You don't. What do you mean? I said, you go up there and vote for somebody to rule you? I don't know about you, but I don't accept any authority from man. And he's like,
Brandon, you got to answer this guy. He's put this comment in here about 15 times.
Oh yeah, man. The water's high. We've had rain event after rain event after rain event. I haven't had the boat in the water probably in 40 days now. I'm looking at the weather coming up within the next week. It's supposed to dry out some here, because where I'm at, if you get a bunch of rain, you get too many trees and logs floating down the river. That's a bad day on the water when you hit one of those with your prop.
Here's a comment, and I just put a video up on my other YouTube channel. You might have heard of it. It's called Richie from Boston. Smoking cannabis doesn't mean one is lost. Like I said in the video, I used to smoke weed. I haven't smoked weed in like a decade or more, easy. Because smoking weed helps a lot of people with certain ailments. I don't have any of those ailments. So if I was smoking weed right now, I would just be doing it recreationally. And it would be an absolute enormous disservice to the people that come on here and actually put any value in the things that I say or the people that I bring on. If I was up here and I wasn't sober, I'd have to answer for that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't fornicate. Those are three things that I have control over, and I don't do because I truly believe what I say, whether you do or not. Smoking weed is fine, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like it is what it is. It is what it is. I just don't do it. That's all there is to it.
Every individual has the right to their own freedom of choice, but I would just advise this on listen, man, if you're looking to escape reality, and I hear this pitch about pain all the time about marijuana too, where you can get the pain relievers without the THC. To remain vigilant, to remain sober means to stay in your higher state of mind. And you even heard Max say that he wishes he would have listened. You could tell in his deal about that. Because listen, folks, when you take even THC or alcohol, which is spirits, which is another etymology of a word that's a beautiful study, when you do that, you are not in your right mind. And when you're not in your right mind, that means gateways have opened. Yeah, but how are you going to stay sober in the spirit when you're putting something like THC? See, this is what this guy's personally doing is you want an excuse for why you do something. I'm not going to give you that excuse. You're just not going to give it to you.
I agree. How about this? If you do smoke weed, don't make videos talking about the topics that we're talking about until you're not under the influence or whatever. You know what I mean? All these years, you've never seen me make a video drunk, and I've seen others do it. It ain't pretty. It just ain't pretty. There's no unringing that bell. So
no, it's not.
It just ain't.
You have to stay in your right mind. And look, listen, man. 10 years ago, I would have been a totally different way. 5 years ago, I would have been a totally different way. But as I get stronger in the spirit, as I become stronger in my convictions, as I become, yes, I've smoked. Yes, I've done all kind of stuff, guys.
Yeah.
But as I get stronger and stronger and stronger in my faith, my belief system, my convictions, the truth, the less I need any crutch or anything else. I just don't need it. I actually want to stay in my highest mind possible at all times.
I agree. I totally agree. You can't. Here's the deal. In my mind, and I think this might even be written someplace, doing what I do on these airwaves, I pray before I even turn my laptop on, because when I press that power button to turn it on, I've already shown you what that power button symbol is. It's a sigil. It's a real thing. I pray for protection because these really are scrying mirrors. Long story longer, I'm not going to come on here and tell people about the full armor of God and everything else, and in the background be pissing God off because I'm not being correct with it. Does that make sense?
It just makes, listen, so, and I want to go back here. If you're still smoking marijuana and you feel that that's fine with you, and nobody in this world can impose their will on you. If you think that's right. For me and my journey where I'm at now, which is I'm a good 10, 12 years into this whole research event, I serves no purpose for me to lose 3 or 4 hours of my consciousness by munching out and doing all kind of goofy stuff. That just don't serve any purpose for me. I've got other things, better things to do.
And I can't imagine how you're getting organic, clean marijuana anymore, because it just ain't possible, because you can't get organic, clean anything anymore. There's a couple of YouTubers that were known for smoking. They had no issue with it. They were incredibly creative. They did all sorts of stuff. When it got legalized in Colorado, they stopped smoking it because the legal chronic super bud, blah, 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 was making them paranoid. It was making them do things that the other weed that they were getting illegally wasn't, because it's controlled by the same people that control everything now. There it is, right there. GMO pot. Exactly, Lacius Lace. And she knows because she's sleeved.
She's sleeved. She gotta
know stuff.
she gotta know stuff.
Yeah. At any rate, all right. So
I watched one of her videos not long ago. I meant to comment on it. I don't know if I did or not, but I did watch one of her videos. Intelligent lady too.
She has a channel.
Yes, she's only did it like a couple of video logs, I think, only a couple of them. But I just so happen every now and then I click on people's when they send me a message and I get the notification, I'll go check and see if they got any video content. And that's how I found Born Again.
Nice. Go ahead, man.
What's True Moo?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Who is True Moo?
I don't know. Maybe it did cure your cancer. I hear you. But like I said, I don't have cancer. I have no excuse. If I was doing it, it would just be recreational. And I gave up having relations with people's daughters. And that really, I mean, that was my entire life. That was my entire life. That's all I cared about. You know how hard it is to walk away from that? Dude.
Hey, and look, nobody is telling anybody out there that marijuana is enough to send you to the pits of hell.
Right. Right.
I'm telling you guys.
The comment section ran away with that. We were trying to prove a point, and the comment section ran away with it.
Yeah.
So
stay in your highest mind as possible at all times, folks. That is the key. You can't check out for 3 or 4 hours a day or 5 or 6 hours a day and telling me you're doing it for recreational purposes. That's not the truth. You're not being honest.
I did, Leanne. I did. All right, let's jump back on this because everything I had to say I said in the last video that I just put up a couple of hours ago. So there's that. It isn't an attack. It's the reason I even knew he put a video out is because about 300 of my subscribers emailed me it. Even though I mention, I don't know, every once in a while I mention, please don't email me other YouTubers' links. I won't watch them. Please don't. And then they always start the email out by going, I know you don't want to see other people's YouTube videos, but you got to see this YouTube video. And it just, I have to think they're just messing with me. You know what I'm saying? So.
No, that's what happened to me too. Because about 5 emails in, after about 5 emails about, have you seen the latest Max E? And I was like, I guess. Let me go. You just saw it.
It was terrible. It was terrible. He was telling everybody they were. I don't even want to get into it because I will.
No, I hope we listen. This is another instance where love thy neighbor as I said.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
We hope Max comes through this and becomes better for it.
He's just got to come out and say whatever actually happened and lay it out there and stop trying to do half-ass cleanup is making it way worse. And then telling everybody it was the most important video in the world and then pulling it down. Dude, dude, really? At any rate, this article right here is from 1972, July 3rd, 1972. And this is on like microfilm. That's why it's so small. You know what I'm saying? Rainmaking is used as a weapon because they made it pour on the Ho Chi Minh Trail when I was a child, when I was a baby. But yet now they're letting the Amazon, they're letting Australia, they're letting California go into drought. They're letting them burn down. They're disappearing their water. We know for a fact that they can make it rain. We know for a fact they can stop it from rain. We know for a fact they can take a storm and turn it into a tropical storm, turn it into a hurricane, turn it into a Katrina. And if the storm don't do it, they'll blow the dams. We know they can do that too because they've done it before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It amazes me that when I was looking up links for this video, for this live stream right now, I found about 7 of them from NASA from 2015, 2014. And all of them were saying, the earth is running out of fresh water. All the fresh water is disappearing, says NASA. Anytime NASA says anything, that's a huge red flag. But they're telling us they're running out of water. It's just so ridiculous, dude. But this seems to be the direction. Climate change is coming, and we're running out of water. So we're going to have to hit you on both of those fronts. No
Did you see where the national park, I just don't want to lose this thought. Did you see where the national park in Wyoming, the Glacier Park, had to remove its signs, which said that the glacier wouldn't be there after 2020. They had to remove their signs.
Because it's still there, just like it always was.
Yeah, because it's still there. But this right here, listen, I've been through Katrina. I've been through Gustav. I've been through the Great Flood of 2016. I've been through, what was that other hurricane that hit Baton Rouge real hard? But anyway, I've been in my short time, close to 40 years, in my short time on Earth, and then a tropical storm Emile, which was in 1996, I've been through 6 floods. 6 floods in my lifetime, and it's about every 4 or 5 years we get a flood, and it's going to happen. And it's geoengineered every time. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The last one had 26 inches of rain fall from what they call a water bomb.
Water bombs, yeah.
The water bomb. The water bomb at night. We went to bed at 9 o'clock. It hadn't rained at all. We woke up and 26 inches had fell. And that's how much rain fell without the sun to cause evaporation at night. So you know what they did. They turned on all the ground to air cooling towers here at Exxon refinery and power plants around us, and fueled that water bomb. This is amazing. This isn't Harris hearsay. This is truth. It's fact. It's documented since Vietnam and forward. They have been controlling the weather, and probably even longer than that, Richie.
The what was I just going to say? I already forgot. Gene Gleason, you got a wrench. We had two, and these made national news. Out my front door is the Atlantic Ocean. Within 30 feet, it's the Atlantic Ocean. You walk 30 feet out my front door, you're standing in the Atlantic Ocean, and then it just goes on to wherever it ends up going. Who knows? Out this window behind me is the Boston Harbor. So it's water. Boston's right there. There's a city called Revere right there. Revere had a tornado. It had a tornado that popped up. We don't get tornadoes because we don't have what it takes to create a tornado. We don't have big open fields. How are you going to have a tornado get created in a city like Boston where it's all skyscrapers? And then we had another one in Weston, Massachusetts not too long ago that it was devastating. It looked like it was going down the highway. It took a right turn. It stopped at the store. It got a pack of cigarettes. Then it took a left. It went down the other street for a little while, picked up some beer or whatever. These were both prime examples of things, weather anomalies that are obviously weather control or weather manipulation gone awry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things. We get nor'easters. Last year we got 3 nor'easters in 1 week. In a real world, without climate change, without weather modification, those 3 nor'easters, if they were real out to sea, they would have been drawn to each other. And they would have turned into a storm or a hurricane. You know what I'm saying? It's just amazing how they're wielding this. And people are just, it is what it is. We got 3 inches of snow last night. You would have thought it was Snowmageddon. It was the end of the world. Every single piece of equipment was out. The plows were already dragging blades. It hadn't started snowing yet. They covered everything with salt, and all the highway signs were lit up. Make sure you plan accordingly. 3 inches of snow in Boston, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, look, we get a bad storm here now. The local news station starts pumping it up, and that it could be the flood. And what happens is if you go to your local grocery mart, there's nothing in the store. No bread. Right. It doesn't matter if 1 inch of rain falls now, the entire store is sold out.
That's the other thing too. That's the other thing why when I first started making videos, chemtrails, I started looking into chemtrails. Once you go down that route, you go into absolutely everything. I started making bug out bags. I was already very well versed with backpacks and such because I've been doing it forever. There's still videos up of me smoking cigarettes with a 60-pound backpack, hiking the Appalachian Trail by myself in the rain. Video's still up. Nobody watches it, but it's me. It's pretty funny when you watch it, but I've done this stuff forever. People need to understand that these guys own the weather, and they also own the trucks that go to the supermarkets that they also own. All they got to do is hit a switch. I don't know what it is that they're waiting for, because to me, it looks like they're ready. Maybe they need 5G up and completely running, but I can't even prove that it isn't up and running. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
It is up and running here.
Pretty much everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm watching them, and I know a lot of my subscribers told me that the same things happening, that they're clearing all the trees next to the power lines and all the power poles and everything. They've been doing that here for like 5 months, it seems. And I live out in the middle of nowhere, but now all of a sudden they care about our little power lines. Yeah, right.
Well, here's the thing. Crystal, however you say that, Crystal Booth, grow your own food, become self-sufficient. That works in some places, but where I live, it don't work. And here's the other thing. I tried to outsmart the system. I hit the road a couple of years ago, and before I left, I had all my tomato plants growing in the house. When I left, they were about 4 feet tall. I told my stepmother, make sure you water them, blah, blah. When I got home, they were about 10 feet tall, and they were massive, but they bared no fruit because I forgot about the bees. Nothing Nothing
pollinated it
at all. I almost said fornicated it.
I got you, buddy.
Right. Right. You know what I mean? Because everything, what somebody already posted while Brandon was talking, somebody already posted saying, I'm having a hard time on my farm growing things because I'm reading that. It's taking me will Brandon profess the name of Jesus Christ?
Oh my goodness. What is, hold on.
What is that even? I'm reading it still. Will Brandon profess the name of Jesus Christ is his English? What does that mean?
I don't know what it means, but this guy, see, this is another one that's stuck in English. Now you provoked the bear. Now you pissed me off. All right. Do you even know what the English language is, young man? Do you even know what Jesus Christ means? Is it just the word, or is it the character or the makeup of the individual? I just don't know where you guys get this stuff from. What you're looking for is to make yourself feel better by throwing out a straw man. So this is your straw man. This is a logical fallacy argument that you're looking for to trip me up, to make you intellectually feel better. Well, look, young man, you don't even know what the English language is. You don't know what it was built for. You don't know how it's been used to enslave you. You don't even know that it's the New World Order language. It is this language built by magicians, wizards, and witches. So if you think you're speaking a pure language by speaking the English language, you have another thing coming to you, young man. And I don't know what your problem is, because you like to smoke dope. Well, you keep on smoking that dope and enjoying your high times. And while you just profess the name Jesus Christ, but your actions and your deeds don't follow that. Well, that don't do anything for you. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
So here's the deal. How does anyone think that the English language is somehow superior? Because even before I knew Brandon, I understood it was the newest language on earth. You know what I'm saying? It's the new, nobody spoke English until we got here, correct? Right. And then started completely disassembling the king's language, basically.
Well, what you have is the English language itself was, listen, folks, let me tell you something. You think it's by accident that you can play a Led Zeppelin record backwards, and it has an entirely another code
at the age 10.
That's right.
Oh my, yes.
You think
in live it would do, they could do
that's
it.
Right. You think it's by accident that Obama can get up there and say, yes, we can. You play that backwards and it's Hail Satan. If you think by accident that all these coincidences happen within the English language, and you're speaking a pure language built on the principles and foundation of truth and honesty and integrity, well, you got another thing coming to you. It's not. The whole language was built by Kabbalists, wizards, witches, warlocks, whatever you want to call them. And that's exactly what the English language was built on. So all you fools out there that are stuck on stupid with this stuff, you've got to. Why am I hating on weed? Because
I was going to answer that. I shouldn't have put that in right while you were already rolling, because I can see your face is turning red.
Weed. Weed can be used for great medicinal values. It has its purpose. The Father put it here in non-genetically modified forms. But if you're going to tell me you walking around here smoking DAP and hydroponic all day and it's for your good, you're not lying to me, pal. Listen, I don't care if you lie to me. It doesn't make me a damn bit of difference. What y'all are doing is lying to yourselves, and that's the problem.
And the other thing is, you're in a comment section commenting, not just you, John Leo, many people that are trying to defend the fact that they're smoking weed recreationally. You're on a channel where we're talking about and proving that there is a force of evil that is trying to get, long story short, they're trying to get us all to burn in eternal hellfire because they already know they're going. There's only a few things you need to remember. And one of them is stay sober in the end times. I don't want to be high and all of a sudden have the devil come flying through my window. And I'm like, this is killer weed. You know, you need to be vigilant and stay sober. This isn't the channel to be commenting on that. I said in the video 2 hours ago.
Hey, listen, guys.
Go ahead.
Hey, listen, man. I do not force my will on anybody, period. That is, if that's what you want to do, but here's the thing. If you want to stay high all day long, well, dude, you're missing out on what this world is really about because you're not in your right mind all day long. It's a loss of time. If you think time is worthy enough to just waste like that, don't worry about it. That's on y'all. But I'm going to stay in my sober mind, and I'm not going to preach any doctrine of demons and telling people it's okay to be high. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm further along than that.
I agree with you. I had an entire 5-hour window with nothing to do today. I could have decided to go have a few beers. There's a bar right across. Well, there's a restaurant with a bar right across the street. I don't even have to drive. I could go smoke weed or what. But you know what? Instead, I threw a backpack on. I got video of it because they got video of everything. That's how I roll. I guess it keeps me honest. I went out to the middle of the woods and I enjoyed what's left of creation. I also looked around and looked at how much of the forest is dying off because of the trees also being affected by the chemtrailing, but I still enjoyed what was there. I ran into a buck. I actually tracked him and I saw him. I got him on video. Beautiful, beautiful. Man, he took off. Nobody hunts. You can't hunt. You can't camp. You can't fish. You can't set a fire in this forest. You can walk in there and shut up. That's it. Walk in there and that is it. No camping, no hunting, no fire, no fishing. Welcome to Massachusetts.
That's crazy, man.
But I was out there. And that's there's other things to do, man. And I got a bad knee. So doing that absolutely hurts, but the more I do it, the less my knee will hurt. I would like to think. I'm not going to take anything for it.
Well, you know, I just couldn't imagine in this day and time where I am currently. And like I said, and really, I probably shouldn't get aggravated with people. I should calm down and not allow people to aggravate me. But
check this out, Brandon. We're trying to do a live stream on a Sunday night when we could be dicking around doing whatever, watching television, whatever. Instead, we're trying to explain to people kind of poorly, but it is what it is. The comments are getting us good tonight, boy. We're trying to explain why they're stealing all the water we need to live on Earth. And they're actually even talking like all the water's disappearing. Wow, that's weird. We're going to have to charge more. That's kind of a problem. Look, I just Bill Clinton'd you. That's kind of a problem. I did not have sex with that water.
But here's the problem. Let's do this too. Remember, we're in an enclosed system, right? Yeah. Well, if we're in an enclosed system, that means everything that's here stays here. The water just.
That was what NASA was saying. They're like, the water because water's natural course is it evaporates and it goes up. It goes up and it hits the glass or the brass that's like glass. It don't go anywhere, man.
It's a water world, man.
These guys are filling it with airplane fumes, filled with whatever.
It's amazing how they are. Remember, but they have to preach. Listen, they have to preach scarcity. Only through scarcity, as long as they pump scarcity into your brain, okay. As long as they're able to do that, they're able to pump fear inside of us. So it's always scarcity. You're going to remember back in the 80s when I was coming up, I remember everybody talking about we're going to run out of oil in 10, 15 years. We're running out of oil.
Yep.
And it's just if they have to preach scarcities. And so as long as they can make the masses, and that's who they're after, they're not after. Look, anybody in their higher mind doesn't believe any of the crap that they see on TV. We read through the lines and see the real message in between those lines. But the masses get scared. So they'll go out there and buy up a whole store of water bottles because the Earth's water's running out.
Indeed. They do this all the time. And Australia has, and they've had an enormous desalination plant. They can make all the water they need. That's also the same Australia where I got the paperwork from the guy that actually his job is, and it's been in his family for centuries. Apparently his father did it. His grandfather did it. For the last 100 years, they checked the levels of the oceans, the largest ocean on Earth that's in Australia. I forget the name of it. Remember that chart I showed you where The water hasn't moved a crumb. The salt
Right.
water. They've got all the salt water in the world. When I was in the Bahamas, when I was in Nassau, before I was a convicted felon, which means it was like 600 years ago, they had desalination plants there. I can desalinate water right now with some things that I made, and it's easy and it's real good water. You know what I mean? So there is no water crisis. It's just the newest crisis because they realize that they're losing the climate change, the global warming thing. That's why they're pumping it down our throats so effing hard. It's amazing, dude.
How many years? I would like to know how many years we are removed from. Remember Al Gore, and we only had like 12 years left.
The hockey stick.
Yeah. How long else do we have to go before that 12 years is up?
Oh, that was up about 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's just always the same thing, and what they do is completely morph it into something else. And you know, it's amazing how easily manipulated the masses are by just sound bites. And most people look. That's why the headlines are.
That's why they come out with those things called blurbs.
Yeah.
Oh, I read a blurb. I'm like, what does that even mean? Oh, it's the thing on the back. It tells you all about the book. Oh, so you can read this whole 600-page book in a 3-sentence blurb.
Yeah.
We're living in a blurb world, dude. Me and you are good at blurbing.
No. All you have to do is do a couple rolling emojis. Do like with these guys. That's it. I know it.
Sassy Frass just said, "Drill your own well." That was one of the points I wanted to come across because somebody else said fossil fuel as another one of the huge. Well, dinosaurs died and then they got covered up with leaves and they eventually turned into, Mobile One. Richie runs in his Land Cruiser. Yeah, the problem with that, though, is some of the guys that actually do this for a living, they'd run a well completely and totally dry.
And it comes back.
6 years later, it comes back.
Yeah.
6 years later, it comes back. Is it the lifeblood of the planet? I don't know.
There's something to that oil and its purpose. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Oil, but here's the thing. They have to preach scarcity on that, too, because we could just use water, Stan Mayo. We could use the process that guy from Australia come up with the coils, and it doesn't even actually. It's frequency based. Energy.
What about the guy that made the car, the dune buggy that drove from one side of the country to the other?
They poisoned him. He said, "Oh, I've been poisoned and dropped dead." Right?
Imagine that. The last thing you say, you're eating. So, anyways, Brandon, I was talking to the Chin Warrior about how dinosaurs are another hoax. I take a bite. Oh my God, I've been poisoned. And then I die. Yeah. What killed him? I think it was global warming, man. He didn't mention anything. And then the car disappears. All the paperwork disappears. He had a plug where you didn't have to take your motor out. You could just change your spark plugs and it would run on urine, salt water, puddle water, any type of water. They could not have that. And what gets me is, why do they care? They've already stolen all the gold. They've already stolen, like they have paperwork on everything that's worth anything on earth. Why do so many dollars moving around?
I'll tell you why. Because what would happen is a breakthrough of their enslavement system. Listen, everything revolves around energy, right? So if energy's scarce, they can continue to keep us in this rat race because everything's scarce and you got to keep working for energy. You got to pay your light bills. Well, if it was a known fact that water tuned negatively or positively charged, tuned to the correct frequency, creates a gas that could run your household. Well, hello, folks. Well, the gig is up. Now we don't have to pay fuel adjustment charges for oil, gas adjustment. Their whole gig is up, man. And it's just they have to keep everything within the system that they've created.
Do you think diamonds could come from the firmament?
I have no earthly idea about that.
Nor do I. But there is a blue stone that has an incredibly heavy amount of oxygen in it. The stone is a blue crystal that I believe, I did a video on this, man. I believe it was like 59% O2.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was shiny blue stuff. And it just showed up out in the middle of the desert like it would just fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Here and there. I forget what the name of it is. but I thought it did. I thought it might have. I don't know about diamonds. I think diamonds are just regular old rocks because we can make them now. It's no big deal.
And that's just like people telling me we're going back to the gold standard. Well, who told you that gold had that much value too? You know?
I've always, dude. It's a rock. Usually, when you look at gold before you turn it into gold, it's a rock. It looks just like pyrite. It's just a rock, a very unattractive rock. We live on a planet. We live on a plane.
There you go.
Oh, I say it all. Well, dude, for 47 years, I said planet. It's people, they make YouTube videos about it. Richie from Boston totally lied, talking about the planet. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. We live on a plane. We live on a earth that everything is done over yellow rocks, yellow shiny rocks, and silver rocks and palladium rocks. But it's like it's rocks. Like everything, when you come down to it, it's all based on rocks and tree bark. That's it.
Crazy when you think you put it if you put everything
into perspective for real.
If you really put it into perspective outside your indoctrination and programming, these truths. So these truths are self-evident. What are the rocks? Some things. Hey, Vic Noid, I want that just on that the channel. I want to say it's Wise something. He does a great expose on all the old flood stuff. That's what he thinks too. And listen, so things like that, I can be swayed one way or the other with enough evidence.
Well, here's the deal. All of that evidence is the exact same evidence as the Great Flood. Mm-hmm. Noah's Ark is still sitting in another country with a bunch of military guys around it and a big fence. No one's allowed to. One guy got in there, an Asian guy, and showed it. I can't find the video anymore.
Yeah, I know that. I had it. I know.
The rock that Moses split in half with his staff and water came through it, it's got a big fence around it. It's still sitting right there, and there's a bunch of Middle Eastern soldiers around it. Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt. It's still sitting right there. They don't disturb it. You're just not allowed to touch it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I remember that Asian dude that went there. He was something. He was a doctor or dentist for the Saudi Arabian prince or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, dude. There's so much stuff on YouTube back then that if I really, at the time I didn't realize what I was watching. But man, there was some good stuff on YouTube you can't find anymore.
Well, that's the other thing. In the live stream that we did with Nicholson, which is a rare, dude, count yourself lucky because it is a rare thing to be in a live stream with Nicholson. I've had him on more times than most, and it's tough. Son of a, I forgot what I was going to say. It was good too. Oh, there used to be a video, and it explained why they started making televisions. Televisions originally were never meant to be what they are now, but I guess they probably figured out this is a way better weapon than anything we could ever have come up with. Televisions were simply to do what CERN's trying to do, trying to break into another dimension through the white noise and the static. They're here.
Right.
Well, there was 3 German scientists explaining it ad nauseum. And I asked Nicholson in that live stream. He said, I do remember that, and I can't find it. If anyone can find that video, send it. RJCJR10 at yahoo.com.
Hey, brother Jeremy Cox. Yeah, Ron Wyatt. I've watched all of Ron's stuff. Ron had some pretty good, amazing videos about Solomon Farm.
Yeah. The thing is every time somebody like that gets really, really good, they go after him and try to. There's so many the thing about the mud flood was when the time that it showed up. Every year, something is introduced to get you to stop looking in that direction and look this way. And it works like a champ because 8 out of 10 people go right for it. I just consider it the Great Flood. That's all. Great Flood. There it is. Boom. So,
yeah. And listen, so, and what I see trying to do is trying to force everything, new discovery into a time zone that you want it. Hey, look, nothing's new underneath the sun. No telling how many cycles this has happened, how many times we've got back to this point. There's no telling until the last time.
Christopher Taylor is asking Mike Decker a question about Devil's Tower. I've got 4K footage of Devil's Tower. I flew my drone right over the top of it. I climbed up the inside of it. I drove around it. I was there all day. And I went back the next day. And I think the video is still up.
I remember you doing that.
I don't know what Devil's Tower is, but I'll tell you what, it don't look like any type of a tree to me, man. I don't know. I don't know about any of that, because that whole thing, giant trees, I don't know, man. I don't know. That was
during the No Forest on
popped up out of nowhere, came from a Russian guy. As long as the person's got an accent, Americans go for it. Hook, line, and sinker every time. Every single solitary time, right off the rip, man. So
yeah, and that kind of fits into that subjective category too, that every time that it happens that, we were bigger, we were smaller. I don't know about that, but I know that the hexagonal shapes that's within that stuff is pretty cool.
It's amazing. And the same thing is on the ocean, the Isle of Giants in Ireland. Yeah. A friend of mine is going to Ireland, and I'm like, dude, go to the Isle of Giants. Get me footage of that, because it's the exact same thing. And of course, it's from volcanics. That's ridiculous. It's totally, completely ridiculous. Lava flows in an entirely different way. This looks like a little kid using Play-Doh through one of those spaghetti machines.
One of those little things, and it squirts up. That's exactly what it's like.
Yep. So,
I agree with you.
Scott Johnson, if you can, send those, dude. RJCJR10@yahoo.com. They are here. Brandon, you got anything else, dude? We've been going for an hour already. And
No, I'm good. I'm good. And look, I just want to tell a young man that I got a little angry at. Hey, man, no harm, no foul. But I beg you to not put all your trust in the English language and recognize what it is really used for. I spend all my time every week exposing the English language for what it really is. And even on my end, I'm learning Latin to learn the base of English. That's what it is. So
that's dedication, man. And think about this. I figured it out before I even met Brandon. It's too young of a language. It's too young of a language. Everything about America has been a plan from day one. They never hit it. This is a Freemasonic experiment. The experiment's just about done. They needed to trick an entire continent of people into becoming a fighting force. Do you know what I'm saying? Where they would willfully and energetically and excitedly go to war for what's the reason? Well, we really don't have one. Awesome. Yay, let's go. USA. And it's
hey, we're here to spread freedom.
That's right. I am here to democratize you. It's just so
but that's real, and it's amazing.
It's really real.
Yeah, and it's amazing. But when we're stuck in the programming and indoctrination, we don't see it that way, right? You can't see it for what it really is. Yeah, thank you for having me on, Richie.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem whatsoever at all. All right. Bill Cooper nailed it in that interview you posted on your channel. He did. You just gotta definitely cherry pick in there, because he was still talking about UFOs, but Bill Cooper was on a boat and saw a UFO, parked the oceans and come out. I bet you if I saw that, I'd be like, yeah, there's UFOs. But he figured it out. And before he got smoked in his own driveway, he fessed up. So he's got a video up right now.
I just put it up, guys. There's a new video today.
Yep, right now. So there is that. All right, guys. Richie from Boston, Brandon from Louisiana, the Big Sib YouTube channel. His link is pinned in the comment sections and has been. We are out.
Later.